Welcome back to the Relationship Mentors podcast. And on this episode, we're going over 5 distinct differences between men and women, especially when it comes to relationships. Like, it's so important to know these differences. And the quote is, like, you can't hate and understand someone at the same time. So when you fully understand your partner and why they do certain things the way they do and how it's different from you, like, the hate goes away. And same as yourself, like, understanding why you do certain things, like, the hate can go away towards yourself too. So super excited to get into this one today. And we're going to go over the best things from the week just gone. Do you have yours ready?
Yeah, I feel like just this week, it's like we're getting closer and closer to summer. I don't know if we're in summer yet.
Yeah.
However, the weather overall, like last week, it was super rainy all week. Or the week before last week, super rainy all week. And the week that was just gone, like the sun's out, it feels like summer and it just feels so nice. It's like we walked out of church this afternoon or tonight and you just step out and it's not cold. It's just like you're just hit with like a warm hug at night from like the warm air. And I just love it. Like I love the feeling of summer, and I feel like overall that alone has just made me feel so much happier. Like the sun just makes me so happy. And also having like a beach day as well today.
Yeah, I remember when I lived back in Wales. In Wales, it's freezing cold in the UK, and you don't really get a tan over there, especially not through the winter, like no chance. And then there's a shop opened up in town and it had tan beds, like where you stand up. Oh. It's called like a sun shower or something, where you stand up in it and it's a tanning bed. Oh. And it was so warm and it just like felt like you're on holiday. Like it felt like what Australia feels like in the summer.
That's a great product. When you said tanning bed, I thought, like my first thought was like the pool beds, but not that you just like the pool lounge chairs.
Oh right, no.
I'm like, I don't think you'd really lay out.
No, it's in like you stand in this box thing. It's probably terrible for your skin, and it just like blasts you with this blue light. And
feels like summer. Feels like the dopamine.
And you pay like £10 and you go in there for 12 minutes, and then that gives you a bit of a glow.
How many times did you go in?
That's what like today felt like, walking out of church and like the hot air hitting us, and it's like it feels so nice. Warm. Like nothing more uncomfortable than just being cold all the time. Yeah. Especially in the winter here, or especially in the UK most of the year. Just like cold and shivering all the time. You have to wear a lot of layers.
And we'll see how we go when it's like peak summer and we're like, oh my God, it's so hot.
Yeah.
But at the moment, we really are appreciating it. Like the first couple of warm days is for sure great.
Some people love the cold though. We've got a really good friend and he went back to the UK from Australia because he much preferred the cold. So people are built different, hey?
Exactly. Okay, so that was my favorite thing about the day or the last week. What was your favorites?
I think my favorite is just getting really back into gym and doing that sort of stuff. I feel really good.
Like twice a day.
Yeah, I've been going for runs in the morning and then going to gym midday, and it just feels like a really good flow of it as well. And feeling way clearer with business stuff as well. Like I've been doing loads of different things, trying different things out. I was only posting content around relationships, but then I also like social media stuff, so I was posting about that. But I've fallen back in love with the relationship stuff and just helping more guys with that. Like there's such a big demand out there for guys to learn these tools around relationships. Like they don't need to learn the depths of this intense program and do all this childhood trauma stuff. Oftentimes when you give guys the tools in their relationships, they can fix their relationship in their relationship. And that's what I've become really passionate about over the last few years. So I think dialing back into that has brought me a lot of purpose again.
Yeah, I love that. I feel like, just like from my perspective, watching you do it, I feel like I've just seen you work 24/7, and I think overall maybe you were just like needing like a
bit of time away.
Yeah, time to like give yourself a break.
I feel like you can hate anything if you spend too much time doing it.
Yeah, I find it funny. There's like by giving yourself a break or like a holiday, you just focus on a different business. To give yourself a break from one business so you focus on another. But it's like, if that's like, that clearly worked really well for your brain.
That did work very well for me.
Very effective, very effective.
Amazing. So we'll get into the points today of the 5 differences between men and women. There's a lot of differences. There aren't just 5, there's way more. And also at the same time, it varies every single person. Like it's not a perfect, this is it. This is a generalization, which usually happens between men and women.
Yes, what we see play out a lot within men and women.
Yeah.
Okay, so the first point is when we are looking at communication between men and women, we say that men are like bullet points and women are like paragraphs. Do you want to elaborate on that?
There's a funny meme or reel when it's like the guy comes home and he's like, oh, John and Jess broke up. It's like, why? Oh, I didn't ask. Well, when did they break up? Oh, like a bit ago, I think. And then the woman's just so annoyed because the guy just doesn't get any details.
Yeah.
It's like when two guys communicate, it's just like telling them the basics of what happened. It's like, this happened, okay, and this happened. It's like a logical standpoint to it. And men can so often just say, this happened, this happened, this happened. Whereas women love the story. They love the emotion, the build up, and like what happened? Why did that happen? What was everyone doing at the time?
Yeah, it's like women are so much more like, I think, detail orientated of like we love to know like the whole picture, like what was he doing, how did he walk in, like how did he breathe in
What was
that
the drama?
second. Yeah, where it's like you can correct this from a men's point of view. It's like for men it's just like, okay, well, they broke up, that's, well, nothing else is going to change now. It's like they're no longer together, so it doesn't matter what happened, or it doesn't even cross your mind to ask.
Yeah, or when you even ask me questions sometimes about, I don't know, how I'm feeling or just certain parts of life, I can just say, yeah, good, thank you. And just like, I don't really have much more to say about it. And Mia just wants this longer sought out answer because it helps her connect with me more.
Yeah.
But sometimes I'm just like, this is what happened. I don't really think that far into it. I haven't got that much more to say. Like, this is what happened. This is how I feel.
It was like, even tonight, I think I asked some question, whatever it was. And then it was like a short answer. I was like, oh, I'm not sure for whatever the thing was. I'm like, no, but you have to give me like what your thoughts are for it and what your
What's your
thoughts
thinking
are.
process?
Yeah, like tell me all your whole thinking process. Like, what were your thoughts as soon as I said it? What are your thoughts for it? What are your thoughts against it? Like for and against to go that way and for and against to not go that way for whatever that situation was. It was like something to do with business.
Yeah, and
But,
like when guys, if you're a guy listening to this, it's like a lot of time your woman wants to hear about your day, hear about what's on your mind, talk about your feelings, talk about what you did throughout the day, and just in more depth than just the single answer you'd give one of your mates. Like that's how a woman often connects with you and gets inside what's going on in your head and in your heart. Like women want to emotionally connect with their man, but oftentimes they can't because the man is very shallow. So like the practice of articulating yourself and telling your woman stories and talk about what's going on for you, it really helps her.
Exactly. And then also, I think there's also another meme that's on the internet where it's like asking your boyfriend, how was his day? And he's like, yeah, it was great. Or like, yeah, it was great. I did this. Then asking a woman, how was your day? And she tells you everything. And like that definitely happens in our relationship. Like, I'll just talk and talk and talk. And then I ask you, and then it's such a short response. But then also knowing that when you actually make sense, that is, okay, that's just how your brain functions. So it's like, that's the default of, not even the default, it's just like, okay, that's to you what is most important.
Yeah.
And it's not for a woman to get angry. It's like, I gave you so much attention and time and effort into explaining how my day was, and all you're saying about your day is blank of like one statement. In reality, it's like, that is what's important to you in that moment.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
I think men are way more simple sometimes. They're just like, I don't know, you put two guys in a room, they just communicate in such a different way to putting two women in a room.
Yeah, which leads perfectly into our point 2, or our second point, which is, so we say that women are great at multitasking and men are great at single focused. And that goes especially into what you just said as well.
Yeah.
Because it's just like women can focus on multiple different things at once, because to us that creates the whole picture.
Women have way more awareness. Like even things around the house, I might not notice that the body wash has been gone and out for like 5 days, but Mia notices right away. And it's just so out of my awareness, some things. Or I wash up a big pile of washing up and then I miss one cup. And I was like, Mia's like, why didn't you wash up that cup? I was like, I swear that cup wasn't there before. I just like can't see that.
Yeah, it's so funny because this literally happened yesterday. It was like the pile of washing up, but the cup was like right in the middle of it. So it's not like it was on the edge or anything, but it was just like right in the middle. And I just walked up and I just knew, like, am aware that was like, he's just not in your awareness. And for me, I was like, I will never be able to make sense of that, because I'm like, oh, it's there. It's right in the middle. But you're like, nope, I just genuinely didn't see it.
And this is the whole point of, you can't hate and understand someone at the same time. Like Mia could And Mia did used to get annoyed about it sometimes. Like, why didn't you just do that? Why didn't you put the keys back there instead of there? Like tiny little things. But it's like sometimes it's easier not to get angry at things.
Yeah, I think it's making sense of what is an actual choice. Does that make sense? Of like you're consciously choosing not to wash that cup up, or does that make sense? Of like there's a difference between, it's not guys just saying like, oh,
it's
like,
not me being lazy. It's just
that's what
not
it is,
seeing it, you know?
It's like, it's not out of complacency or laziness. It's genuinely, if it's the honest truth, where like washing up the cups, like there's just random cups that you just genuinely don't see. And I've been like, we've lived together for many years now, and it's just like something that does happen a lot when you wash up. Like you'll wash up everything, but there's just like a random cup that you just don't see in the process.
The poor cup.
Yeah.
And this plays out in so many different ways, the singular focus thing. Like if a guy is working or he's doing something and he's focusing on something, and you as a woman can go up to him and try and get his attention and get some affection, and he's insensitive towards you, he doesn't really talk, he kind of brushes you off. Like you taking offense to that, I've seen that play out quite a lot. But just notice that when a guy's doing his task, he's doing his thing, he loves doing it until completion. Like it makes him feel so good that he can finish that one task and then come back to you and then be fully focused on you. But it's so often the case that men want to focus on this one thing and women want attention all the time. Like when I sit in a room with you and I'm trying to work, Mia's constantly just asking me questions and starting conversations. And we have to work in separate rooms because when we sit next to each other, we don't get any work done because Mia just wants to talk all the time.
And it's such a natural, like I genuinely want you to work and I want to work, but I am still working as I talk to you, I guess.
I'm just like, I'm like, work. What did you say? Work. What did you say? Where you're like doing everything at once.
Yeah. And so I think that's like the thing that's worked out the best, of like, I know if you're just not in the same room as me, I don't have, those questions don't even come into my mind. But the moment that you walk into the room, all these questions just like flow in. So yeah, to go back to this as well, it's like when we're talking about men being single focused, the way that I love to look at it is, imagine that there's just one box, or like there's this whole wall full of drawers, and men will pick one thing to focus on, and that's like them going up to one drawer and opening up one drawer, looking at what's in the drawer and organizing that or doing whatever is in that drawer. But women, since they're they are able to multitask so much, women will open 8 drawers all at once, like take a peek here, take a peek here, take a peek here.
See how they all relate.
Yeah, see how they all relate. See which ones they want to do first. Work on all of them all at once. Work on 3 of them and then work on another 2. And they will just go into all these different ones. So and that's so easy for women. Like women just so naturally do that. But when you look at it from a man's point of view, for example, it's like a man is already in his one task. His whole wall of drawers are all closed apart from the one drawer that he decided to open to start working on. And then imagine that you come into that room that your man's working on and then you open up a drawer. But then in our conversation, then you're also opening up all these other drawers as he's already focusing on this one task. If his head is in that one drawer, it's hard for him to jump from one drawer to the other. You need to get his attention first so he can look up from the drawer and then look over to you and the drawer that you're opening for whatever that conversation is.
And like a train going down a track, and then if you want to change directions, aka change conversation or topic, oftentimes it takes a while for the tracks to change over, and then you'll start talking about that. So giving him some patience, like when he's doing something, then you ask him a question and he doesn't respond straight away, or he takes a while, or he didn't really hear you. Instead of getting angry and be like, you never hear me, can you understand that sometimes he's just switching between thoughts, between tasks, and it does take a little bit longer sometimes for a guy. So like having patience as a woman is such a big thing for a guy.
Yeah, I love that. And I feel like that also then blends into our third point, which our third point is, within a relationship, men want to feel capable and have peace. And then women love to feel safe and reassured within a relationship.
Yeah, obviously both sexes want both things, but when I see relationships and when I speak to people, I really see it's like men really want to feel capable within their relationship. That gives them so much self-worth. They want to know they're doing a good job. They want to know they're a good partner. And that's how they feel good enough often. And you see it sometimes when the woman comes up to the guy and she's angry or upset or a little bit critical, or her tone's a bit critical. The guy can shut down, or he gets defensive, or he self-pities, because he ties his self-worth to how good of a job he's doing for his partner, how capable he is. And when that gets questioned, that just plays into the inner narrative that maybe already playing on in his head, that he's not good enough, that he's useless, that he can't do anything right. So it's like realizing that men want to feel capable in the relationship. And if you can help him by asking him to open a jar for you, asking him to park the car, asking him to carry stuff, that makes him feel so good as a man. So it's like, can you make your man feel even more capable in your relationship? And the other piece is peace. Men want to feel peace in the relationship. Men want to walk out the house and go to war in life, in work, in business, in health. They want to push themselves. And when they come home, they want their relationship to be a place of peace, a place of nurture, a place of rest, support, receptiveness. They don't want their relationship to also be a source of stress. Like, that's when a man will start distancing himself from you if you don't give him peace.
I love that. I also love is like when you're saying men want to feel capable. It's like even in my in our relationship, I've noticed it's like the more that I've realized, when I actually ask you for help, you genuinely appreciate that, and that makes you feel good. And I can see that where before in whether other relationships or at the beginning of the relationship, I would, even if I was like struggling with something, I wouldn't ask for help because I had that pride of like, I know that I can do it and I can figure it out. And it's so great that I know that I can do it and I can figure it out. And I can also ask for help in that same time. It's like even like a very clear example of that would be even if I'm cooking something and then I would like Charlie to help open up a jar, or normally after the shower I like moisturize my whole body and then I come to bed and then I have like a little jar of like a lip mask or something, but my hands are all slippery so I can't open it, and then I ask Charlie to open it. And I just feel like in those moments you just feel so like it's such a tiny thing, but it always makes you smile.
Yeah, and as a woman, just because you can do something on your own doesn't mean you should do something on your own all the time. It's like, give your man that opportunity to feel like the hero in your relationship. And then for women as well, like feeling safety and reassurance. When a woman doesn't feel safe and reassured in the relationship, she will create chaos and she will not give her man peace. And this just triggers back and forth. The man wants peace, but he's not giving his woman reassurance. So the woman doesn't give the man peace because the man isn't giving her reassurance. And it goes back and forth like this. The man is stressed out. The woman doesn't feel reassured or safe in the relationship. And then it just creates such a stressful relationship.
Yeah, and it just really goes to show, it's like, if you just simply knew this and then both of you took a step back, it's like, okay, I'm going to help create peace for him. And then his mindset was like, okay, I'm going to help her feel safe and reassured.
And this is why we do the podcast, just the understanding of this stuff, of why you guys are different and how beautiful that is. Like, it's good that you're different. Imagine dating someone who's exactly the same. Like, one of you would be irrelevant because you're exactly the same. So it's good that your partner's different. It's how you grow as a person, by relating to someone else, them showing back everything that you don't like about yourself maybe, and then learning this stuff. It's like, cool, how can I make my woman feel more reassured? How can I give my man more opportunities to feel capable?
It's allowing yourself to feel and become aware on a deeper level for yourself. It's like that polarity that you get to experience within a relationship, which is so sick.
Amazing.
Okay, moving on to point number 4, which is men and women bond through doing versus thinking. So men are very much doers. So when you really look at men, when they're doing catch-ups with other men or with their friends, they're everything that they're doing is very much doing and active. They are creating new experiences with each other. They're having shared activities together. They're going golfing, they're going skydiving, they're doing
running, gym, all that stuff.
They're doing a lot of activities that don't actually incorporate that much talking. Yes, there's like a conversation here and there, but they can be doing the activity without any words happening at the same time.
Yeah, like sense? Two guys can spend the whole day with each other doing an activity. say 10 words to each other and have the best day ever.
And that's why you can spend a whole day together and find out that he broke up with his girlfriend and
Yeah,
not ask
back
more
to
questions.
point one. That's why men don't ask a lot of questions. Like when guys meet up, we want for there to be as many men as possible there. And that sounds so gay.
Yeah.
Not in that sense. But just like, if
All
there's
the men.
a lot of guys and we're doing something active, like
Oh, the testosterone.
the testosterone's flowing,
I just got what you said, yeah.
like playing a football game, or we all go to the gym, or we all go fucking running or something. It's like when there's a lot of people. Me is laughing here. This is turning very gay, which is great. But yeah, men love it when there's activity that pulls away from the actual having to connect one-on-one. And you notice when two guys stand with each other to talk, they're never face to face. They're always pointing outwards. Whereas when a man talks,
They're like they're side by side, like
Yeah.
shoulder to shoulder. You mean?
and when a woman talks to a man or a woman talks to a woman, they're most of the time front on,
Face to face.
face to face, standing straight next to each other. Whereas a man and another man will be facing out from each other, and it's such a thing. Like, notice next time you see two guys in a conversation, they'll hardly ever be face to face.
Even if they're sitting at a table, like if they're sitting across from each other at a table, they're still
pointing each other
not
out,
face their legs and their body language is like still actually opposite of each other, like not fully facing each other.
What are women like on catch-ups?
And then women are a lot more, in my note, I said women are more thinking. However, what I do really mean by that is women are more chasing or looking for an emotional intimacy. So really
conversational.
Yeah, really deep, meaningful conversations. And so that's why you see with a lot of catch-ups, and I do see this when I look back at my girlfriend catch-ups, it's always going for a walk and catching up. Like our activity would be going for a walk and catching up, or we're going to get a coffee and catch up, or going for dinner and catching up, coming over to my place and sitting on the couch and just chatting for hours, because we're sitting there and we're going over each little detail of a situation and our thoughts that we've had since we haven't seen each other. And so we're really creating that emotional depth with the people that we are catching up with.
It's like men need to catch up so that they can do an activity, whereas women need to do an activity so that they can catch up.
And do you know what I realized as well? It's like there's like some weekends where we'll organize with our other couple friends to go to the soccer ground, and then the guys play soccer and the girls will like sit on the
stands
or like mat and just chat. And I was like, and
That
it's
is
always
such the
worked out so
difference, hey?
perfect. I'm like, wow, with this example, that exact scenario plays out at the exact same moment. Like all of us go to the same place, same time, and the guys are the ones kicking the soccer ball around and we're sitting there chatting. And I have the best time. Like,
And I have the best time.
Conversations.
Yeah. Amazing. And the last point, number 5, is men like to fix, women like to feel. So often in a relationship, men really want to fix the problem, because women love to express themselves in a relationship. When something isn't sitting right, most of the time the woman will express herself saying something needs to change, something needs doing, this is how I feel. And men think straight away there's a problem, there's something I need to fix, there's someone to blame here, there's something that needs to happen, there's a puzzle to work out. So a guy goes instantly to fix, he's in his head trying to figure out the problem. Whereas most of the time the woman just wants to connect on an emotional level and wants to be felt and wants to be understood and heard and seen and validated.
Yeah.
But the guy is so busy fixing the problem and thinking ahead that the woman just doesn't get seen.
Yeah, it's like, and fixing it's so important to remember that fixing the problem isn't always the good thing. Isn't always a good thing. So especially from a man's point of view, it's like if it's so natural to you to go straight to the solution of like, hey, what's the problem here? How can we solve it? Because obviously she's upset, or she's only bringing this up to me because she needs help with it, or because she's upset. So if we fix it, then
The problem will go away.
She doesn't need to be upset anymore because it's fixed.
Yeah, that is so it. If the problem is fixed, she no longer is upset.
Yeah. When in reality,
that's how the male brain works.
yeah, and like sometimes that is the case, and other times that can be the case, but she really wants to feel it, and sometimes even like needs to feel the emotion. It's like women love to fully acknowledge exactly how they feel, how the situation actually occurred. It's acknowledging what's happened. It's not brushing past the reality of what is now and pushing for the future. It's like, okay, no, this is exactly what's happened. Let's not neglect the presence here, like the present state here. And I think that is really healthy, and both of them are healthy in a degree. So normally women will really feel it, acknowledge the situation before even considering or looking at the solution. And so, and even sometimes from a guy's perspective as well, it's important for them to know that it's like sometimes all women need is to communicate how they're feeling with you, and they come to their own solution on their own. And sometimes that's the most important part, because that way she's actually learning how to, like, it's a self lesson. Like we're all going through life for our own lessons, and most of the time it is actually great for you to allow the other person to learn the lesson themselves.
And the question the woman is always asking in her head is, do you understand why I feel this way? Like in the past situations, it's like, can you see how I felt this way? And the guy's just like, how do I fix it going forward? But the girl's like, no, can you feel how I felt in that moment? And that's how they really connect with them.
Yeah. And then like, even that was so good, because like even you explaining that, like that's so true. In the moment that she doesn't, even if those words aren't said, if she doesn't feel like you're connecting to how she's feeling or how she felt at the time that she's expressing what's happening, she will just keep explaining that situation until you give her a response or an emotional response that shows her that you feel that empathy, or like you can see how she felt in that moment. Because if you're trying to solve the solution, her thoughts can automatically be, oh, I didn't explain it enough, or he doesn't get what I mean. Let me keep explaining my emotions for him to connect with the emotion.
And then eventually she'll say, he just doesn't get it. You just don't get it. There's no point. You just don't get it. You'll never understand. And women are like, fuck, they're on two different pages.
Something that I love that you said to me the other day is like when you're starting a conversation. So for example, in this situation, a man starting a conversation here on this page and a woman starting a conversation on this page, they're talking about the same topic, but the man's
building his argument.
No, it's like, yes, building his argument, but like his train of thought is fixing the problem. So he's hyper focused on like, hey, what's the problem? And I'll create the solution. Where her page is I'm sharing this conversation, but I want you to feel and acknowledge and accept how I'm feeling, and acknowledge that how I'm feeling is okay. And then so the more they're having this conversation, they keep butting heads because they're not on the same page. It's still the same conversation, but they both have a different mindset towards it. So that's why that you always hear, it's like, tell the person, it's like, hey, I'm not wanting a solution right now. I just want you to hear me out so you guys can get onto the same page, and then have that conversation from there.
Yeah, just knowing what they want. It's like, as a guy, if your woman comes to you with a problem or she's saying something, it's like, hey, do you want a solution, or do you want me to just listen to you right now? And just like knowing what she's after rather than just jumping to conclusions or assumptions.
And it sounds so simple, like just 2 words, like one question. It sounds so simple, but it can make the world of difference.
And this shit really adds up. Like not knowing this stuff, like it can be one conversation that's annoying, but every single day having that conversation, then weeks, months, years apart, it's like, disconnection can really be a big thing in the relationship if you don't nail these small, tiny things within conversations.
Yeah, I love it. So to go over everything, we'll just do a quick fire round. Okay.
Number 1, in communication, men are bullet points and women are paragraphs. Number 2, women are usually better at multitasking. Men are way more singular focused. Number 3, within a relationship, men want to feel capable and have peace. Women want to have safety and reassurance. Number 4, men are more doing, women are more thinking and conversational and emotional. Number 5, men really want to fix it, women really want to feel it. So they are the 5 differences. How do you feel like that went?
Yeah, I feel like that was great. I feel like what we said right at the beginning, which is there are so many different things between men and women. I feel like there could be a whole episode of like the differences between the man and woman's brain in itself, and the way that we communicate is so different. But I feel like these are just the ones that come up so commonly within a relationship, that just knowing these and remembering them, because I feel like they could be things that you've already heard before, but actually reminding yourself with each conversation and interaction that you are having with a man or a woman, like remembering that and seeing it through their lens, and the whole conversation changes.
Amazing. So if you guys are having issues in your relationship, if you want personalized help, we do offer one-on-one coaching. We do offer programs. So reaching out to us on Instagram, Mia Brooke Cherry or Charlie Owen Coach, just start the conversation there. We'll always reply, find out what's going on in your situation, see how we can help. But hopefully this podcast helped and you can really start implementing changes from this. So thank you so much for listening. We release a podcast every single Monday morning and we hope to see you guys next week.
See you later.